Lenten message focuses on poverty, drawing lessons from St. Paul's references to what poverty and charity means for Christians today.
It's a time that we are to pray. It's a time that we are to give alms. It's a time that we are to fast. And all these go with good works. And if you go by even the readings of Ash Wednesday, it tells us that these must be done in joy. So it's not a time wherein we have a gloomy face. That's what the gospel tells us. Not to put on a gloomy face to show that we are fasting. Rather, it's a time wherein we do things because, you know, we want to do them for God and we appreciate what God is doing for us, so we do these with joy.
As millions of Christians observe this sacred time, they are expected to abstain from food or other pleasures and take time to focus on God.
Let us remember, this is a period wherein good works must show in our lives. You know, we are to fast, yes. We are to give alms, yes. We are to pray. And it's, you know, going out, you know, of the ordinary. Let us, you know, it's not an extraordinary thing, as so to speak. But then, like if at all I was praying, you know, I pray a little bit more. Huh? If I, you know, was fasting or doing, you know, reducing the amount of food that I take in, I just add a little bit more. Praying, the very same, I add a little bit more. Because this is a period wherein our concentration goes to God rather than ourselves.
Lent is a common practice in Christianity, a way of giving service to God through increased prayer and almsgiving and mortification to reach God. Samuel Ba, GRTS.
Well, time now to take our first break. We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia.
You thinking of a property partner? Think Universal Properties. Universal Properties is the leading real estate developing agent in the Gambia. Universal Properties prides itself with experience in the property business. Our properties are well located in areas such as Brufut, Sukuta, Lamin Kerawan and Tanji, close to the Camel Safari and opposite the river. The properties have all access to good road networks, electricity supply and water. Our payment terms are flexible and prices affordable.
This is Universal Properties. We urge all Gambians to come on board. We are reliable, reasonable and cheap because we want to make home affordable to every Gambian.
Visit Universal Properties today on FIB building along the Keraba Avenue. Universal Properties, the most experienced real estate company in the Gambia.
Welcome back, and off now to the international scene. Egypt's defense minister and mastermind of the coup that toppled former President Mohamed Morsi has hinted at the possibility of contesting the fast-approaching presidential election. Field Marshal Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who was addressing graduating soldiers, said any individual who loves his country and his people could not turn his back on them in the face of such a strong cold. We have more in the CFI report.
Egypt's Minister for Defense raised the question of his prospective candidacy at a graduation ceremony at the military academy in Cairo. According to Field Marshal Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, he will not turn his back on calls by the majority of Egyptians.
Don't think for a second that someone who truly loves his country and truly loves Egyptians could ever turn his back on them in the face of such a strong call. Nobody could do this. Nobody.
The chief of Egypt's armed forces led the overthrow of President Morsi last July. Now he is an upcoming presidential candidate.
This is the first time since Gamal Abdel Nasser that the Egyptian people agree on one personality. We need a true leader, a leader to rule the country, someone we can count on.
He will do well, whatever position he holds. Before officially announcing his candidacy, the Field Marshal will have to resign from the government and the army. In the meantime, the Egyptian authorities are stepping up a crackdown. The latest decision has been to ban Hamas, the Palestinian organization accused of conspiring with ousted President Morsi's Muslim Brotherhood to carry out attacks in Egypt.
Hazy skies have become a common sight for the hundreds of millions of people living in China's major cities. The problem has prompted China to declare a war on pollution on the first day of the National People's Congress in Beijing. Officials also announced a new double-digit growth target and boosted the budget for defense. CNN's David Mackenzie has the details in this report.
Congress has started at the Great Hall of the People. It's a gathering of nearly 3,000 delegates from across China, but it's largely a rubber stamp for decisions already made by the top Communist Party leadership. So it's really as much about the pageantry as it is about the policy. And a chance for China's leaders to roll out their plans for the world's second largest economy and emerging power. Premier Li Keqiang's work report promised double-digit defense spending growth and sweeping reforms for an economy once built on breakneck pace. The party wants the market to take a bigger role and hopes to encourage consumer spending. But state-owned giants will still dominate many industries. And there's little talk of the political reform that many China watchers yearn for.
Giving this kind of focus on economic development, there's consensus, I think, among the party officials that there should be continued political stability.
And a focus on combating public anger. It's a beautiful blue sky day here in Beijing, but that's unusual for this winter. China is still suffering through terrible levels of smog, and that's a big challenge for the party. At times, it's been dubbed the airpocalypse. Li has called for a war on pollution to bring the water, air and ground pollution to acceptable levels. Some say the party is serious about its reform plans.
The party leadership knows what the problems are, and they know what the solutions are. But still, it's going to take, I think, quite a few years for them to act according to the plans that they've laid out.
But most analysts believe that the economic reforms will be slow and deliberate, and chiefly aimed at keeping the Communist Party in power. David Mackenzie, CNN, Beijing.
And before we take leave of you, a quick reminder of our top stories. Christians in the Gambia and the world over have commenced 40 days of fasting, prayer and penance, which culminates on Good Friday. Government has brought potable water to the people of Ndowen, and in years of hardship brought about by an acute shortage of the precious liquid. Egyptian strongman Field Marshal Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has made a veiled reference to his inability to ignore calls to seek the presidency, but stopped short of making a definite declaration on his candidacy. And China's parliamentarians have announced double-digit growth figures and an increase in military spending against the backdrop of widespread economic uncertainty. Well, that was all in this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. I am Fatou Janembai. Until then, we'll be back at 10 with more news.
Internet. With QCell's 4G, you can access the internet at unbeatable speeds on your laptop or desktop computer. You can also use your mobile or tablet to browse the internet via Wi-Fi. QCell's 4G internet can keep you connected either in your home or in your office. For a limited time, get 50% off regular equipment and 100% off corporate equipment, as well as free installation and free QCell credit. For more information, call 333-3253 or 333-3104. QCell 4G Internet. Fast, affordable and reliable. QCell. Sunibus, the Gambia's quality network.
The show on demand which you've been waiting for is finally here. Tech-Biz Insight is a show designed by Panaflix Media in partnership with GRTS to address the many questions